amazing Michelle Jackson.
Oh, thank you. So it's so good to see you all. Can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'm sorry I couldn't be there, but I'm old and my husband's old, so travel is just not, this is not a good time for us. So let me tell you a little bit about myself and how I got to started reading the Bone. So my name is Michele Jackson, and I was a tarot reader. And I had a big tarot site. Um, I was collecting tarot decks. I have over 500 tarot decks. I made my own deck. So that's what my divination background was. And I have a friend who he doesn't have anymore, had a metaphysical shop. And he asked me to do a class on how to create your own tarot deck using collage. And I'm a collage artist, so anybody can do collage. You don't need to be able to draw. So I went to his house, spend the night to teach the class the next day, and he said, "Hey, I got this bone set and I want to do a reading for you so I can try it." So I said, "Sure." So I'm a tarot reader, right? I do a card a day and see what my day is going to be like and everything. And I didn't have any questions because I do a card a day. I know what's going on in my life. So I just made a question up. And he did the reading for me. And it was very, very accurate. And I was like, wow. And even at one point, he said, there's something wrong with your question. Okay. There's something wrong with the question. So he's even able to pick that up with these bones. I was like, wow, this is amazing. So the very next day, I went and bought myself a bone set and started working with it. And at first, I kept it very tarot-like. Like I said, at this point, I had like 30 years of tarot experience. So I would throw my bones on a cloth that was laid out like the Celtic cross spread, and I still had that structure. But then I met a teacher who finally told me, "Why don't you just throw them in? Don't worry about that." And when I did that, it worked. So that's pretty much the 5-second version of how I got into bone reading. What I love about bone reading, even though I came from tarot, at first I used to say, "Oh, I wasted 40 years of my life on tarot. I should have been doing bone reading from the beginning." But no, I didn't waste those 40 years. Those 40 years were helping me to learn as a diviner, to learn how to work with people, how to listen to spirit. So all those things come into bone reading. So it wasn't really 40 years that was wasted. But I was always looking for something more me. So I would collect tarot decks. If you're a tarot reader, I'm sure several of you are. You get a deck and you love some of the cards, and then there's some cards that's like, I could take them or leave them, or even that you don't like altogether. So I finally figured out how to solve that problem. I made my own tarot deck. I used collage. I loved every card in it because I made them. I knew what they meant. I understood the symbolism. I put them together piece by piece, and that's how I solved that problem. But even then, you're still in someone else's system. You got 78 cards. You got the 4 suits. You got the 22 majors. You're still stuck in someone else's system. With bones, bones are completely yours. You decide how many, you decide what they mean, um, you decide what goes in the set, you decide what comes out of the set. You're not in anybody else's system. And as you work with them over time, you work with them, they become like a part of you, like a friend. Some of us get like real close relationships with our tarot decks, but it's not going to be anything like the way you'll feel about a bone set. It's like a second person because you have made it yourself. You built it up from scratch. It's got your blood, sweat, and tears in it. Your experiences are in it. Things you put in it have meaning to you. So once I started doing bone reading, I never even looked back at tarot. And that's sad to say, but that's where we are. Now, some people do both, and that's cool too. Some people do them both together. They'll throw their bones on top of their cards, and that's cool too. But bone reading is your own system. So is anyone here who reads the bones already? Okay, cool. Anybody here who wants to learn how? A few. Oh, about everyone. Okay, cool. Well, today I'm going to show you how. It's going to be the quick and dirty because we only got an hour, but we're going to do a reading together. Yes, Lizzie, I have a question. Go ahead, Lizzie. Someone has a, okay, I don't know how to do the question thing, so sorry. If you put it in chat, I'll answer. Oh, that was an accident, she said. Okay, cool. So y'all ready to start? Let's get started. We're going to do a reading together to show you just how easy this is to do. It looks complicated, but it's really not. So let's go ahead and get started. And there we go. So, what is bone reading? Bone reading is a form of cleromancy. There's a definition there. You can look it up, but it's basically casting of lots. It's even in the Bible. They were casting lots in the Bible, and the Jews had a two-piece system that they used to do divination. So cleromancy in some form has been around forever. Just about every culture has used some form of cleromancy. My style of reading, I'm going to tell you my beliefs on the bones. You can believe what I believe, or you can believe something else. It's up to you. But I believe my ancestors and the spirits that walk with me are the ones who make the bones fall where they are and who help me to interpret them. So when I get ready to do a reading, I pray before I start. I call in my ancestors and the spirits that I work with, and ask them for their guidance. And that's why I believe the where they fall comes from, and it helps me to interpret them. Now you could believe something else. I know people who don't believe any of that and they still read the bones. That's cool, but that's how I work. Ancestor based, spirit based. These are people I've studied with. When I first started, it was hard to find anybody who knew anything about bones. So this first person here, Chaz, he's the one that invited me to his shop, that's his store name, and showed me the bones. The next day, I went to Lucky Mojo shop. I live here in California, and where they are is not too far, and I bought my first set, and she showed me a couple of things. And huh? Is there a problem?
Michelle, the PowerPoint isn't showing.
Oh, I'm just talking away. Okay.
Share the screen. Yeah, you want to share your screen?
Okay, let me see what I'm not doing here. I am so sorry. Let's go back here. Share screen. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, here's the screen I want to share. Let's start from the beginning. I'm just yapping away, huh? Can y'all see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, so what is bone reading? Bone reading is a form of cleromancy. And I just talked about this. It's in the Bible. Every culture has done it. This set here is my set when I first kind of started years and years ago, and it's changed a lot since then. Okay, my style of reading, ancestor based. I'm sitting here showing you stuff, and y'all ain't even seen it. Okay, so here's people I've studied with. So this is the first guy that taught me, the guy here with the mystic dream. The next day I went to Lucky Mojo and bought my first bone set, only place I knew to buy a bone set, and she showed me some things. And then I met this woman, Gretchen Michele. She's a Sangoma. She went to South Africa every year for 3 years. She studied with a famous teacher there who's written many books, and she was initiated, and she's the one that really got me out of that tarot thing and said, just throw them and see what happens. And I learned a lot from her. These are other people I've taken classes from. You can find a lot more classes now than you used to be able to. Is this showing on my thing here? Mm-hmm. Let me get that out of the way. Okay. So these are people I've taken classes with. Every time I do a reading, I learn something. Okay. I might get a different interpretation for a piece, or see a configuration in a different way. But every time I do a reading, just about, I learn something. And the way I do it is not the one true way. If you become a bone reader, you're going to develop your own protocols, your own pieces. You're going to develop your own style, your own way of interpreting. So this is definitely not the one true way. What I am showing you is the way I do things. And that's all I can show you, is how I do things. You're going to learn your own way of doing things as you go along. Okay, so first we're going to do a little show and tell. Then we're going to, just to show you what's out there so you can see some things that people put in their various sets. And then we're going to do a reading together, okay, to show you that it looks complicated, but it's not. Okay, so this is my travel set. Shortly after I started reading, we were going on a cruise overseas. And I was afraid that they were going to take my bones at one of the customs places. So I made a second set to take with me. And this just shows you some of the things in it. It has teeth, bones, so I still have it. And if I do a psychic fair or something, or a party or something, it's got less pieces and it has a lot less ancestor pieces in it, because people at a party, they don't care about their ancestors. They want to know, other stuff. So it's just a kind of a slim down version of my regular set. And I only use it, like I said, for when a psychic line or something like that, or a psychic fair or a party. My regular set has 109 pieces, so it's got a lot more pieces, mostly ancestor pieces. Okay, so I'll take you through my history with throwing things. So the first thing I had was this Tarot Major Arcana set. I bought this back when I was into tarot and I was collecting decks, and it's got the major arcana and pieces, and then you throw them and interpret them. I couldn't make heads nor tails of it. Okay, I just it didn't work for me. I needed if it wasn't in a spread, I couldn't figure it out. So this is how my first piece of sortilege, but I wasn't ready yet. Then this is my first bone reading set. I bought this, I don't know, 30 something years ago. And this is a set that's like it's from South Africa and it's made for tourists. Okay, so it's not a serious set. It's just you go to South, and I haven't been to South Africa. I saw it here like in a New Age shop. But I thought, oh, that's cool. And I picked it up and I looked at it, and here's the instructions. You can see how old the paper is, but I couldn't make heads nor tails of this. So, and one more thing I couldn't make heads nor tails of. I wasn't ready. This is another set I bought called Shagai, and this is from Mongolia. And it's a 4-bone set. If you look at the 4 bones, each of them, each side looks different. It's got one that's curved in, it's got one that's curved out, and the same on the sides. So out of those, you can get 32 possible meanings, and they have a little meaning paper that comes with it, and you can memorize it. And I didn't get much out of this either. It was cute. I liked the little bag, but I didn't get much out of it. Okay, this is a set I bought when I first started, reading the bones. And I'm a inveterate collector. You don't get 500 tarot decks sitting around doing nothing. So I like to collect things. So I said, oh, this is kind of cool, vegan bones. So this lady made these bones. I think they're made with a sculpty clay, and they have little markings and things on them. So if you're a vegan and you want to read the bones, there's something out there for you. This is something called the Junk Oracle, and you can see it's just what it says. It's junk. And I thought it was kind of cute. It's got little plastic things, and this from the game, and a die, and the little cards tell you what they mean. So I thought that was kind of cute, so I added that to my collection, just to give you some ideas of things you can put in your set. Anything that's small enough, you can put in your set. This is a set from New Orleans. This lady used to have a shop. I don't know if she still does, named Scully Ellie. She used to have a shop on Bourbon Street. And by the time I found this, she was no longer selling the bone set. She only had the books. So I just made the set based on her book. And I liked it because it had a little skull in it. So I don't have a skull in my regular set, but I just put this together. This set is called Wild Casting. This is from a guy or a woman. I don't even know what their gender is still, in Scotland. So I saw this set and it was on Etsy. And if you want to get a bone set, Etsy is probably the place to go because they've got lots of people selling them now. So I saw this on Etsy, and I wrote to the person selling it. It's kind of expensive. I wrote to the person and said, well, does it come with instructions? And they wrote me back a little short note, said, no, this is only for experts. I'm like, whoa, okay, no worries. You keep your set. So this was in January. So I said, I didn't like the answer. I didn't like the snotty tone. So I just left it there. So I kept seeing it when I went back on Etsy, and they hadn't sold it by June. So in June, I guess I got over my anger and my little pissed off, and I went ahead and bought the set. So this person just walks along the shore and picks things up, walks in the wood and picks things up. And I even like the bag, but no instruction. So if you get something like this, well, you got to figure it out yourself. These are kind of cool. These little things here, does anyone know what they are?
No.
Take a guess. What's it look like?
It looks like pieces of brick.
Okay. What they are, the person just took a crab leg and cut it up. They're just little pieces of crab leg shell. So I thought that was kind of cool. You don't have to have expensive, fancy stuff. They took the crab leg shell and cut it up, and it looks cool because it adds some color to the set. So now you recognize it. Now that you see, now that you know what it is, they just cut up an old crab leg. Okay, and this set's been around since 1994. I started reading like in 2012. This has been around a long time. It's called The Oracle of the Bones. And these bones that come with this set are not real. They're made of resin like. And you throw these bones on this cloth and it's got a 1-inch thick book telling you every configuration you could possibly have, and you have to go to the book and look it up. There's no way you can memorize it unless, well, I guess you could if you were, had a photographic memory, but you need the book with this. So it's been around a long time, and you can still find them on eBay, or you can once in a while find one on Amazon used. They've been out of print forever, but I was fortunate to pick one up. Why does that keep doing that? Okay. This is one of my favorite sets in my collection. This is from a gentleman who runs a shop called Bones to Pick. And what I love about this set is the pieces they chose for it and the container. It came with this container, which is a Jakara. It's got a lion bone in it. It's got some really interesting old pieces, some fossil mammoth ivory. It's got a human bone in it. A bullet, just the things that they chose to put in this set I thought was pretty cool. So it's got stuff you expect to see too, John the Conqueror root, a coin. So this coin, even though is an antique Japanese coin, just a really cool set. And at the end, I'll give you a link where you can, anything of these things that are still for sale, I put them all on one page on my website so you can go and find them. This person still is open. I don't know if they're still selling these sets though. And this set is a set of porcupine bones. My understanding in the old days that they used to use one animal. Okay, so usually a raccoon or a possum, from the old time readers, they would just get the bones from one animal. So this is a one animal set. And it's just all porcupine bones, and they put some of the little spines in there also. And this is one of my favorites also. It's a painted tarot set. It's made out of chicken bones. I'm sure my girl just bought her a rotisserie chicken for $5 from Costco. And these are the bones. But what makes it interesting is she painted them all. And if you have any artistic skills, there goes your cheap set right there. You buy you a chicken, you get you some paint, and you can paint them. So here's some of the painting close up. She really did a lot of detailed work. This one's like a church, I think, and a house. Snakes, just really, this is that breastbone that's in the chicken, is that skull. I have the little clip on here to hold it up so you can see it. So she really did a good job with that. If you have an artistic bent and you can paint a little, there's a way for you to get a set very inexpensively for the cost of a chicken. Plus you can get dinner. And this is my found set. This is a set made of pieces that I found walking my dog. I think some of y'all already seen my dog. She's laying here. So these are like just things I found walking. This set cost me no money. I have actually $2 and change that I found for this set. And these 4 pieces here, I didn't find them. They're chicken bones from when I made hot wings one time. But the rest of it's just little stuff I find walking my dog. Shells, nuts, toys, pins, pieces of broken stuff. These little keys, I find these little keys a lot. Here's the next page with some more stuff that I found since I took that picture. Another little set of these keys I found. I don't know how people lose their little keys. Some more money I found. And I live 15 miles from Mexico. I live in San Diego, so you always find Mexican money too. So some pesos. But you don't have to spend any money on a set. You can put a set together from things you find in your junk drawer, or things you have left over in your jewelry box. It just, you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money and buy a set. This set is interesting. She's one of the first people I met once I started reading bones. First other bone readers I met. Her name is Jo Champion. And she has over 200 pieces in her set. And the way she reads the bones is every piece, and you can see it's mostly stones, every piece has a story. So she can tell you where she got it, what was happening to her that day, and why she added it to her set. So she doesn't read all 200 at once. She has a cloth that she throws them on. I'll come back to that. She throws them on this cloth and she interprets it where they fall on the cloth, and she only throws a handful. So she goes in her basket, she grabs a handful, throws them on that cloth, and interprets from there. She also made it into a set of cards so she could carry it with her everywhere she went. So if you want to buy it, this is available on Amazon. But then you're in her system, so. But I just thought it was so intriguing that every piece has a story, and that's those stories she puts together to do your reading. So if you got the time and you want to put a set together like that, it took her years, obviously, to get it to where she has 200 pieces, but just an interesting concept I liked. Here's another view of some of the pieces. This set is a little tiny set that all fits in this little tiny bag by a friend of mine called the Mystic Cartel Pocket Bone Set. So if you want to carry a bone set with you, you can. All these pieces fit into this little tiny tin. It's got a little shell to throw it with, comes with instructions, and it even comes with this cloth folded up and all put in this little tiny bag. The bag's like maybe 4x4. So I just thought that was kind of cute. If you're icked out by bones, and some people are, and don't like the idea of using animal bones, this lady makes charm casting sets, but they work the same way as bones. You throw them and you interpret them. This is a cloth that she sells, and this is one of her sets called the Magpie Oracle. The cloth's a little busy for my taste. I would find that difficult to interpret, but it works for some people. And she has several different sets she sells: the Magpie Oracle 2, and then she has a set of Lenormand cards. Instead of cards, though, there are little charms for each card, so you could throw them like that tarot set I showed you back earlier. And this is a gift set. This is a guy I know. He's a leather worker. He makes a lot of bone readers cloths for them. So he started reading the bones, but then he decided it wasn't for him. So he gave me his set. He said, "You keep it. You know, this is not for me. I want you to have it." So I took it. And the reason I show you guys is because this little piece here. So I said he's a leather worker. This is a little magical piece. I never asked him what was in it. But this reason I show it to you because I have another set I'm going to show you from Africa that has the same kind of thing in it. And he came up with this on his own. I never told him about my set or showed him. So just to show you how people personalize, he has his own little magical talisman. He's a leather worker. He sewed it with leather and made a little envelope and wrapped it with sinew, and that was part of his set. And this is my set I have from Africa. It's from the people, the Luba people from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and it's from the 1950s. And it's missing a lot of pieces. It also usually has little carved wooden pieces in it, little carved people. But I think someone took them out and sold them separately, so it doesn't have those anymore. It just has the things aside from those carved pieces. But it's got the little figure on the top. And here's what's inside. This piece here has some cotton and some other stuff in it. I don't want to open it up to take it out, but I can see there are things in it. This piece is an envelope, a little leather envelope, reminded me of the other guy's thing that he came up with. Just a little leather envelope. There's nothing in this envelope though. This piece also is something inside of it, and you can see it's red. You can barely see it's red, and then it's wrapped around with leather with feathers coming out. So these are little magical or charm pieces of some type. This piece is also interesting, but there's nothing in it. But this has something in it. This has something in it. And I would bet at some point this envelope probably has something in it too, but I don't know. Aside from that, we have a skull, some horns, a bunch of seeds, a bunch of teeth, a bunch of shells, a few beads. That's a big tooth there. And like I said, usually this kind of set has carved figures in it to represent people, but they were already gone when I bought this set. So I just thought it was interesting that he came up with that on his own. And that's a historical, because this set is from the 1950s. It's older than me. And here's a little figure that's on top. If you look here, this piece here is like some kind of mud clay, and it's like a bowl. And you can see it's cracked here. and there's a bunch of stuff inside. You can shake it and hear what's in there. Again, I don't want to open it to go inside of it, but there's something in there. And you can see at some point it broke and they fixed it with another colored piece of mud. So, and this all sits on top of a gourd, but there's a lot of magical stuff included in this set. So it's one of my, this is my favorite set aside from my own in my collection. There you can see the bowl, the bottom of the bowl. It's made of some kind of clay or mud, but it's hard and there's a lot of stuff inside of it. So that's just to give you some ideas of what other people are doing, what I'm doing, what other people are doing, so you can get some ideas for your own set. So what do you need to get started if you want to read the bones? You need a set of bones. And we talked about a few ways you can get it. You can go out, buy a chicken and use those bones. You can buy sets, look on Etsy. And my advice to you, if you go on Etsy and you see a set you like, buy it that day. Because bone sets, there's not much money in making them. So people come in and they make them, and they make a few sets and they sell them, and then they never make another group of sets because there's no money in it. You have to buy your parts, and you're usually buying them at retail unless you're going to buy hundreds. So you're usually buying at retail, and you've got to still mark it up. So there's not a lot of money to be made in them. So when you see that set, you buy it. So you need a set of bones, you need something to hold them in, and you need something to throw them on. That's all you need. There's some nice to have things, you know, you add pieces to your set. Once you buy a set, it's not like a chess set where you can't take pieces out. If something doesn't resonate with you in the set you bought, take it out. Add your own stuff to it. You know, you're not stuck with the set. You have to mold your set to make it the way you want it. So you need some extra pieces. Nice to have something to point with. Whenever I do a reading, I have water and candles lit. Incense you can do, you know, whether you want to or not. And I also recommend new people start with a journal, because if you start journaling, it helps you if you write down your pieces and what they mean. Writing helps you to remember things. And also 6 months after you start, if you go back and look how far you come, you'll be amazed. If you keep working with it every day, and a few months later you go back, look at your journal, and you may not feel like you're making any progress, but then you'll look in your journal and you'll see you made a lot of progress. So I recommend people journal also if they're reading bones. And these are just some of the things I use to clean them. Hoyt's cologne, Florida water, different Florida waters here, some incense. These are cloths that I read on. Okay, so where can you get a set of bones? Etsy, I already told you about. If you take a class with someone, most people who teach a class will either sell you a set or they'll give you a list of things to buy. So that's another way to get your set started. And I have Etsy on here. Once in a while, you'll see one in a metaphysical shop, but most of them don't have it yet. The best and easiest way, you can buy a little small set to start, and then you grow your own set from scratch. Okay. So now you got your set. What do? You clean them. I always clean mine. The way I clean them is I run them under some cold water, as you can see here. Then I lay them out and let them dry. Then I wipe them down with Florida water, lay them out and let them dry again. And you have to be careful. Some things can't be wet. Like if you have an alligator claw, if you get that wet, it's going to turn to a mush. So you want to look at what you've got, make sure it can stand water. So I cool water first, then Florida water, and then I run them through some incense. I have a blend of incense that I've made myself to cleanse them, and I run them through the incense. That's how I do it. You may have your own cleansing protocol if you're you know, you follow a religion, it has a way of cleaning your spiritual tools or whatever. That's fine, whatever works for you. This is just the way that I do it. I like to run it through some incense. And once you've done that and they're clean and dry, you want to kind of carry them or keep them close to you. Carry them with you. Put them under your pillow. You want to work with them every single day. You want to get to know them, and you want them to get to know you. Okay. Something else I do, once I have got them all cleaned up and everything, I sit in front of my ancestor altar with my set, and I go over each piece what they mean. That's after I, of course, have come up with the meanings of the pieces. So you have to assign meanings to pieces. And, you know, there's several ways you can do that. You can just do whatever comes in your head. You can sit and meditate with the piece. You can use the meanings from, whatever book or instruction you have. If you're taking a class, obviously your teacher will tell you what they mean. But even, if you have a book or you have instructions, you have a teacher, in the end, you have to assign your own meanings. Okay. So we're going to do that for a minute. And I can't see. Okay, now I can see you. Here you go. Let's do that for a few minutes. So here we have a jaw. What would a jaw mean to you?
Communication.
Excuse me?
Communication.
Speaking? Okay. I couldn't hear you too well. I'm sorry. So a jaw, anyone else have something different for a jaw?
That communication.
Okay, communication. Thank you. Okay, cool. So this one here, I think this is a bobcat bone, I think. What would a bobcat mean to you?
Protection.
Protection. I like that. They're fierce animals. Sure, sure. Anyone else have a different meaning?
Fearlessness.
Fearlessness. Yeah, fearlessness. Okay, good, good. I use the bobcats and cougars for independence because they're animals that walk alone. They don't live in a pack. The only time they're with other bobcats or other animals is when they have children. Go away. Okay, this bone is a possum bone. Go away. And you can see that it's been broken in the animal. Okay, you see this fat part right here? That's where it broke and it healed. The animal lived for another day because the bone healed here. What would a broken bone that healed mean to you?
Surviving.
Surviving. Oh, good one, good one. Anything else?
Recovery.
Recovery. Yes, I like that. Yes, yes, yes. Anything else?
Trauma.
Trauma. Okay, yeah, sure, sure. Anything else? Y'all are doing great. There's no wrong answers, okay? Because this is your set. You do whatever you want with it. So don't be afraid to speak up because you'll get it wrong. There's no wrong answers. I use it to represent someone who's been through, they were hurt in some way, but they survived it. It's a past hurt that you recovered from. So someone else already said that, recovery. That's what I use it for. And this one I think is a lion bone. What would a lion bone mean to you? Protection? Courage, strength, sure. Sure. Yeah, all the things that you associate with a lion. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So when you assign your meanings, you use meanings from your personal experience, things that are meaningful to you. Even if you have a book, even if you've got someone telling you something, in the end, you have to assign a meaning that resonates for you. Okay, let's do some more. What would a head mean?
Knowledge.
Knowledge, yeah. Thinking, sure. Okay. How about a mask?
Faith.
Covering. Hidden. Secret.
Okay, good, good. All of those are good. So I use it for secrets.
Inner self.
Excuse me?
Inner self.
Okay, your inner self. Okay, it's the self that you're hiding your inner self. Okay, cool. That makes sense. How about a shoe? What would a shoe mean?
Taking you somewhere.
Taking you somewhere? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the next one.
Travel.
Okay, okay, cool. How about a ring? What would a ring mean?
Complete.
Commitment, completion. Excellent, excellent. I use it for commitment, but completion's great too. It's a circle, right? It comes full circle, completion. Anything else for a ring? Okay, how about a key? What would a key mean? Go away. Doors opening?
Close the doors.
Okay. Anything else? Opportunity, sure, sure. Anything else? Y'all are doing great. I'm loving it. Okay, how about a penny? What would a penny mean?
Currency.
Excuse me?
Is that currency and fortune?
Currency, okay, money, sure. Anything else? That's good. That's what I use it for, money. With coins, I have 3 coins in my set. I have a large coin, a medium, and a small one. Because you're going to learn right away if you put money in your set and you talk to people about their money, they want to know how much. Okay. So you need more than 1 coin because they want to, you say, oh, I see your money's going out. The way I do it is heads means money coming in. If it's on tails, then that means your money's going out. Okay. So if I tell them your money's going out, they want to know, how much? Is it a big amount of money or a little amount of money? How about a medium amount of money? So that's why I have 3 different coins, one for a large amount of money, one for a medium amount of money, and I use the penny for a small amount of money. How about the elephant? What's the elephant mean?
Somebody said wisdom,
Wisdom, okay. Yeah, elephants are wise.
memory.
Memory, they don't forget. Sure, sure. Anything else?
Because the elephant's trunk is up, it means happiness to me.
Oh, okay. That's something, you know what? I never noticed that his trunk was up and that meant anything. I like that. I love that. So what do you say it means happiness if the trunk is up?
Yes, it means it's the indication.
I love that. Good one. Good one. Anything else?
Community.
Excuse me?
Community.
Community. Yes. Elephants live together in a little group and they raise their children together. Yes. Yes. Elephants community. Good one. I would never have thought of that one though in a million years either. I use the elephant as something that knocks down obstacles. Okay. I stole that from Ganesh, I guess, that, the elephant is big and he can knock things down, knock things out of your way. How about this bird? What does a bird mean?
Free spirit.
Release.
Yeah.
Oh, so many things. Spirit. What did someone say? Release?
Yeah.
Release? Great. What else did I hear? I heard spirit, release, and someone say something else?
Flight.
Flight. Okay, run. Yeah, getting away. Sure. Anything else?
Vision.
Excuse me?
Vision.
Vision. Okay, birds have spectacular vision. Way, way better than ours. You need good vision to fly. Great. So you see, it's not hard to come up with meanings for your pieces. And you see different people come up with different meanings. So it's all good. It's all good. Y'all did great. Okay, next you need to decide what you want to use for a reading surface. They tell me in the old days, they would go outside with a stick and draw a circle in the dirt, and that's what they would throw. But most of us don't have dirt in our backyards. Some of us don't even have backyards. So you need to find a surface you want to throw it on. This is a little handkerchief I bought, and the link to it is in the stuff I'm going to give you at the end. But this is easy cloth because it gives you an easy way to, you can use the elements if you want to. You can use the directions if you want to. When I first started reading, what I would do is, like I said, I had tarot on the brain. So I had a cloth with a X drawn in it, a T rather, like this drawn in it, just like this. And I would say everything on this side was the past. Everything on this side was the future. Everything at the top half would be things in your conscious mind, and the things in the bottom half would be things in your subconscious mind. And that's how I would do my interpretation. I would throw it on the cloth, and where the pieces fell told me what they meant. Then I got away from that. But there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to read that way, it's as valid a way of reading as any other. And especially if you come from a tarot background, those of you who know the Celtic cross, those are the meanings from the Celtic cross. And that's where I got them from. I don't do that anymore. I just throw them on a blank slate and see what but starting out, that definitely helped me ease into it. And if you want to try it, you can. And I know people who still read this way now. It's not like it's a less advanced way. It's perfectly valid if it works for you. Okay. So you can do it like that, or you can do it like I do it. Now I just throw it on something blank. I have a black cloth. And in fact, now I have that one there, but I don't care about the circle. I use that black cloth for so many years that it's like ingrained in my brain. So even though when I throw it on something else, I still kind of see the shape and size of the black cloth, and that's how I interpret. So you need something to throw on. If you have shells, you're going to need something soft under it because shells break easy. Some bones don't break. You would think a little like narrow little rib bone. I've had rib bones that I've used for years and have not broken. So bones are tougher than they look because they have to support whatever animal they came from. They support their body. So don't think that bones are fragile, but shells and some other things are kind of fragile. How am I doing for time?
Bill,
Okay.
can you hear us?
Yeah, now I can. What's up?
We have a question. Somebody had a question.
I'm sorry. What's your question?
Do you have to use the circle or can you use different shapes?
Oh no, you can use any shape you want. I use oblong shape, a black cloth that was like a rectangle shape. You can use any shape you like. There's no rules. Whatever.
Not
Mhm.
for the drawing itself.
For the drawing itself, do you need to use a circle or no?
Oh, I didn't draw a circle on mine. I just do the cross in it. I didn't draw a circle, but you could draw a circle if you want to. Whatever you feel you want to put on your cloth, that's up to you. Or nothing. Like I said, now my cloth has nothing. There's no rules. If you like a circle and you want to work within a circle and you feel that feels good for you, go for it. Okay? But you don't have to, is what I'm saying. I'm sorry I didn't see your question. Any other questions? Okay, moving right along. Okay. This I used to show, and I'm still showing it, but now I just tell people get a basket or something and sprinkle them out. So if you have a little set, you can hold it in two hands and you can drop it onto your cloth. But the problem with that is you have to really practice that, because if you drop it from too high, they're going to go all over the place. And if you drop it too low, they're going to fall in one big pile. So if you want to use your hands to drop, you've got to practice and find what I call the sweet spot, like maybe 12 inches or 14 inches, depending on your set, your hands, and everything else. There's a spot where if you drop it from that height, it's going to spread out nicely. But if you go too high, they go everywhere, and too low. But now I just tell people, just get a basket or something and sprinkle them out like this. Okay? I don't use that kind of basket. I have like a basket lid and I just shake it over my cloth. And this is my black cloth. It's the plain black cloth. As you can see, there's no circle in it. It's not round. This is the cloth I actually use. And then it's got another cloth underneath it because shells are fragile. So you want to do the hands, you've got to really practice. I would say practice from a basket too, because you got to get it, so that they're going to stay on the cloth. But you just try it a few times to see how to sprinkle them out to get them spread out like you want. That's just the easiest way to do it, is a basket or some kind of container where you just sprinkle them out. Okay, any questions? No? Okay, moving right along. We're going to do a reading. And this is the actual reading that we're going to do. This throw right here. This is a small little set. This is a starter set that I had, and I just threw a few extra pieces in there. So this is the throw that we are going to interpret to show you that you know how to do this, even though you don't know you know how to do this. So y'all ready?
I have one question.
Uh-huh.
When you do have a set, because you mentioned like there's various numbers of pieces to a set.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so when you have a set, do you always throw out the full set, or do you, like, if you're using it, do you just kind of do a set and then based on what falls out, you read, and then if there's some pieces still in there, or do you got to throw it all out?
That is an excellent question. Thank you for answering. I should have talked about that. When I first started, I would just grab a handful and throw it. Okay. But then when I started studying with the Sangoma, she told me just throw the whole thing out there, which was scary, but I did it. And it worked out okay. So it depends. When you first start, your set's kind of small at first because you're still building it and learning. When it's small, it's easy to throw the whole thing out there. But if you want, you can just grab a handful. I tell my students every day they should do a throw. So if you're going to do a throw every day, you don't want to throw out 100 pieces every day and try to do a reading. So if you have a lot of pieces and you want to do a daily throw, grab you a handful, see what comes out, and that's what you read for the day. Write it down in your journal. Don't spend more than 5 or 10 minutes on this, because if it takes too long, you won't do it. But every day, grab you a handful, throw it out, just grab and say, what do I need to know today? Grab you a handful, throw them out, write down what you see. Then at the end of the day, come back and look at it and see how that played out in your day. Okay. But either way is legitimate. Like I said, one lady I showed you with 200 pieces, she just grabs a handful. There's no way she's going to read 200 pieces. Okay. But even when I do the readings, I don't read all the pieces. I have 100 pieces in my set, but I'm not going to tell you 100 different things. I'm just going to tell you, the important things. And you'll see how when we do this reading, how that works, okay? Any other questions? Okay, let's go ahead and do this reading. I always start with the person, okay? This is my little person, and this little orange piece is their front, so they're kind of facing this way, okay? So let's go ahead and do the person. So here's the person, and here's the other pieces near them. The skull, I use the skull for an ancestor or a spirit, and the money, obviously a coin. This is face down. This is a Sacagawea dollar, so it's face down. So person, spirit, and the coin. How would you interpret those?
It's kind of like I get the same thing, that the money is upside down or not there because the coin is at the tail, it's showing tails instead of heads.
Right, so money's going out. Good. Anyone else see anything or have anything to contribute?
I get the interpretation that a person is being stressed about money and praying to their ancestors.
Why do you say they're stressed?
Because of the dice.
Oh, you would jumped ahead. See, we're still looking at the person. Okay, but let's do that. Let's look at that. Look at the person. So the money is going out. We know it's face down, money going out. And where is this coin near in relation to the person?
That's the head.
That's the head. So what does that tell you? What do you think that means?
They got on their mind.
It's on their mind. Exactly. It's something that they're thinking about. It's on their mind. Okay, so now we have the spirit behind them. What does the spirit behind them mean?
Like they're not turning to the ancestors, that's what they need to be turning to.
Okay, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm getting like I couldn't understand what you said.
She's getting that they're not turning to their ancestors.
They have their back.
Oh, they've turned their back on their ancestors. Okay, I love that. Yep, because they're facing out this way. This is their front. You're right. So their ancestors, they could have turned their back on it. Anyone see anything different there?
They're not listening to their ancestors.
They're not listening. They've turned their back. Good. Okay, y'all got this. Y'all got this. Okay, now let's go. Someone jumped ahead to the die. I look at the person first when I do a reading to see where they're facing and what's near them. Things that are near them are the things that are most important to them at the time. And the further away we get from the person, the less important the things are, with a few exceptions. The next thing I look at is the dice, because to me, the dice tells me what's going on in that person's life right then. Okay, and I have a little number system. One is they're starting a new chapter of their life. 2 is they're trying to make a choice. 3, their life is flowing along like it's supposed to. I use 4 for stability, which can be good or bad. If you're happy with your life, stability is good. If you're not happy with your life, you feel stuck. 5 is the number of stress and strife. 6 is they're getting ready to close a chapter in their life, getting ready to move back to the number 1. Okay, that's my system. You could use your own system. So to me, 5 is a number of stress and strife. When I look at the person, the next thing I see is the dice. The dice tells me what's going on with that person. And whoever said that was right. This person's under some stress and strife right now. The 5 tells me give anything for the whole reading. So even when the person comes and tells me, oh, nothing's going on, I just want to see blah, 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 and I have a number 2, I know that person's trying to make some kind of choice. No matter what they tell me, I know that they've got some kind of choice or decision they're trying to make. Or if they tell me everything's going great and I see a 5, well, you tell me what you want, but this is telling me that you're under some kind of stress right now. And that's how I use the dice. Other people use them different ways. Some people have 2 dice. I only have 1 in my set. If you're a numerologist, you can use 1 through 10. They have dices with number 1 through 10 on it. So good. We're off to a good start. So the person's under some kind of stress. They're thinking about money going out. So and this is my Bitcoin. Bitcoin to me means debt. Okay, that gold coin means you're probably in some kind of debt. You owe money, and you've got money going out maybe faster than you've got money coming in. And y'all also said that the spirit, they've kind of turned their back on their spirit or they're not listening to their spirit. Y'all are off to a great start. Y'all are killing us. Okay, so then we go find the next group. So here are these two pieces of what they mean. The thimble, I use a thimble for work and career, and I use the acorn for small beginnings. So what is this telling this person? These two together.
Starting a new career or continuing career, small business, getting up and journey for a career.
Okay, I heard the new career. And what does someone else, something else? Okay.
A new small business.
Small business, yeah, it could be starting a new business from small beginnings. You're right. Acorns growing to mighty trees, sure. So they could be have a new job, starting a new job, or maybe they're getting ready to open their own business or start a new career. Great, great answers.
Process of starting something is the ideal process.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand what you said.
Could they be the ideal process of the thinking and the planning part of starting a new career?
I still can't hear. You need to get closer to the microphone or someone could tell me what she said.
Yeah, that could it be the idea of,
Oh, the idea. Sure, sure. They could be thinking about starting a business. Most definitely. Definitely. Yeah. The acorn, small beginning. So they might not have even done anything yet. They might just be thinking about it. That's great.
they may
Great.
need to, the acorn also symbolizes to me that they need to save. You know how squirrels save nuts and.
Ah, okay, good, good. That's how you see the acorn. Great. So they need to put money away or they need to start putting things away if this is what they want to do. Great. Sounds good to me. Next group we got. So we got the little devil pod and we got a healing hand. And the healing hand means health. And to me, the devil pod means good luck. So how would you interpret these two together? And I'm already running late. Go ahead. How would y'all interpret this? Good luck and health. How will we interpret this?
This person seems that they've been blessed with good health. And they're going to continue to have good health because they got some luck behind them that's given them a helping hand.
Okay. Okay. So someone else?
Based off the rest of the reading, I would say that if they listen to their ancestors, they could possibly get the good luck that they're looking for.
Okay. Okay. Good. Anything else?
They have the upper hand with good luck.
Oh, I like that because the hand's on top. Good. Good. That's a good interpretation. Great. Very observant. Okay, moving along. So now we have the bird, which is spiritual gifts, the button, which is connection, and that spine is a separator. What is that telling you?
They're not connected
They're not connected to their spiritual gifts and what?
They're not in alignment with their spiritual gifts. They're separated.
I'm looking at that like almost like a dove, so wisdom and
Mhm.
clarity
Okay.
and issue.
Okay.
They have connection with the spiritual gifts, but they have to make sure to keep that separate from everything else that may be going on in their life that may.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Or could it be that they have that connection in spiritual gifts and they have separated themselves from it, just like they're facing away from their ancestors? Those two kind of go together, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe they have the connection, they have the spiritual gifts, but they've separated themselves. They're not listening. They're not working with their ancestor. Their altar got flies in the water, whatever, you know? Okay.
The lack of the doubt that they have, because I'm looking at button also as a root chakra possible connection, like red.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. Yep. Sounds good to me.
And then
Okay.
the dove is facing down.
I'm sorry. Say what?
I said the dove facing down instead of up is more so like instead of soaring and going for heights, they're choosing to be lower level instead of climbing to or flying to where they're supposed to be.
Good. That's another good observation. Good that it's not flying. It's going downward. Okay, cool. Good. Y'all are great at this. Okay, so now we've got an olive shell, which is a man, the heart, and then got that bobcat bone for independence. What does this tell you?
She's been hurt in a relationship, or he or she's been hurt in a relationship.
I'm sorry?
She's separating from like a hurtful relationship.
Okay, okay. So they're separating from a hurtful relationship. Okay.
And she may be depending on him for independence, but she needs to look at her own independence, or because, you know.
Yeah, they have an independent heart, right? Their heart is independent, but they got this man. Okay, so or it could be about that man too. Maybe we're talking about the heart and the thing go with the man. You have an independent man, a man with an independent heart, or maybe you have the independent heart and it's affecting your relationship with this man.
Right.
And anything else?
I look at it as by the man being over the independent heart, like he's kind of trapped.
Okay, he's over the independent heart. So what?
He's kind of, or they're kind of trapped.
Oh, so he's stopping you from being independent because he's over you. That makes perfect sense. Sure. Great. Makes perfect sense. Okay. This is a little harder one. Now we got a bunch of stuff in a tangle here. So y'all think y'all can do this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think y'all can do it too. Okay. So the cowrie shell is a woman. The rib is constriction. It's kind of wrapped around the woman. The handcuffs are an unhealthy connection. Okay, that's when you're attached to something you don't want to be attached to. The stone is obstacles, and the bell is a warning. How would you interpret this big pile together?
She needs to listen to her ancestors to run.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Born.
Yeah. That's what she's turning her back on now. She's turning her back on that one.
So you're getting a warning about a woman. We agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay, and what is it warning us about this woman? Is she holding us back in some kind of way?
Strictly notion of holding us back and trying to create an unhealthy connection.
Okay, yeah. So she oh, that's good. So you're saying that she's holding us back and she's trying to create an unhealthy connection. Could be too that we have an unhealthy connection with her and she's holding us back. Either way, but in any way you look at it, she's holding us back. She's an obstacle. See, she's got this big stone. She's an obstacle. So this is warning us about someone in our circle who's constricting us, holding us back, that's trying to attach themselves to us in a healthy way or that we're already attached to. Y'all got this. So don't be scared because you see a big clump. It's got several things in it. You know, usually they speak to each other. You know, here we've got several things that's saying this woman, the short answer is this woman is no good for us. And we're being warned about that.
Right.
Y'all agree?
Yes. We have,
Okay.
Michelle, we got a question.
Sure.
No, looking at it, you see that the woman is the unhealthy connection, but could it also be that the woman's changed to an unhealthy connection?
Sure.
Unhealthy connection?
Of course it could be. If that's how you see it, if that's what Spirit's telling you, that's what pops in your head when you look at it, sure it could be. Yeah. No reason why it couldn't be. It could be that woman is attached to a unhealthy thing. However, when Spirit speaks to you, listen. Open yourself. You pray before you start. You listen. What comes into your head, that's the answer. There's no right. That's why I told you before we start. No right answers, no wrong answers. I may see it one way. Your spirits may be telling you something else. When you have your set and your spirits are speaking to you and something comes in your head, go with it. Sometimes something will pop in your head that doesn't even look like the pieces you got there. But when that happens, go with the spirit. Sure. Your interpretation is as good as mine. Okay? And finally, we get to the end. This is the bracelet. I use the bracelet as a piece. Anything in or near that bracelet is something that's going to help the situation. And I usually save the bracelet to the last thing because that's their way out of whatever their problem is. Okay, so we have the bracelet. We have a jaw, which we said is speech and speaking. We have a backbone, which is flexibility. We've got the little turtle, and we got a high John root that says they're going to overcome obstacles. The turtle means move slowly. So now what am I going to tell this client to do to fix their situation or to help their situation?
Speak up, speak your mind.
Speak up, speak your mind. Yes, speech is going to be important. You need to speak up for yourself. Great. What else are we going to tell them?
Be flexible.
Be flexible. Be willing to bend some. You can't have it. You might not be able to have things 100% your way this time. Cool. What else are we going to tell them?
Take your time, don't rush.
Excuse me?
Take your time, don't rush.
Take your time. Move slowly. Yes, don't rush. You're in a situation, you're stressed, you're out of money, you're spiritually disconnected right now. You got people in your life that, may not be good for you. This woman, you want to move slowly. You want to be flexible. You want to speak up for yourself. And what else? What is this High John telling them?
That they will overcome.
They will overcome. Yes. 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 Great. Okay, now we got these other three pieces as far away from the person. I would ignore them. I never ignore the dice. I don't care where the dice fall because the dice is telling me something about the whole reading. But these other pieces, the coyote piece for survival and the ring for commitment, they're so far away from the action, I would just ignore them. Okay? But you can't read every piece in your set if you got 100 pieces. You got to pick and choose what's important. So I read what's closest to the person and move out from there. And the further out we get, the less important the information is. And these are so far away and not connected to anything, so they're not really telling me anything. So I would just ignore them. Okay, and we did it. We did it. Give ourselves a hand. Okay. So any questions on that reading?
Michele, can we see the slide where the diamonds come up, that last slide?
Sure. See the die, here's the reading we just now did. The die is not, it's kind of by itself. Pieces by themselves, also, I tend to ignore because they don't have enough information usually. Sometimes they do. I mean, if it was a piece like the lion bone, I say, oh, I see you're a courageous, lion-like person. If it was near them, even if it was by itself. But pieces that are far away, these pieces are outliers. See, they're kind of far away from the action and they're by themselves, so I would ignore those. I read pieces in groups. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? How much time? Okay, I'm just about out of time, but I got a couple more slides, so we're going to go through these quickly. So if you read cards, you can still read your bones. Here's somebody that I know, Naja. She throws her bones on top of her cards. Here's another spread she had. So she just throws them on top. She reads the cards, and the bones give her additional information. Here are books on how to read the bone. When I wrote my book, there was only like one other book, and it was like more of a survey book. Kat Ironwood had a book that talked about different ways, but she didn't really explain how to do it. She just said, here are different ways. This is how people read dice. This is how people read bones. This is how people do this. So she had a book that kind of like a survey. Mine came out with how to do it. Mama Star had a book also on how to do it that's out of print, but then she covered it again in her new book. So she has a section on bones in her new book. And this is another book that just came out, kind of more of a Wicca kind of thing, or, European witchcraft kind of point of view. So there's more books out there, and I think we're going to see more still coming. Okay, so this link right here, if you go up here, anything that I talked about that's still for sale, it's on this page. So just go to my website, boneshellsandcurios.com/DetroitHF, and that'll give you links to anything that you can still go to the sites. Because some of those things I got like 10 years ago, those sites are long gone. But anything that you saw here that's still for sale is going to be on this page with a link to it. And here's my website. This is my email address, Michele with 1L at boneshellsandcurio.com. If you have questions that we didn't get answered, you can write me anytime. I answer my email, so please feel free to write me. You know, if you have a question about my book, if you got my book, I'll be happy to answer it. If you don't have my book, I'll still answer your question. So feel free to write me anytime. I love talking about the bones, and I will talk about it with you 24 hours a day if you let me. Okay? So don't feel shy about writing me. Last call on questions. Okay, well, I'm going to take like 5 more minutes. Sorry. We're going to show you some bones in popular culture and movies and TV that you probably, maybe you noticed them, maybe you didn't, but there are a lot more out there maybe than you think there are. So we're going to start with this, The Lion King, Rafiki. Did you know Rafiki is a Sangoma?
Michelle,
Uh,
Michelle, real quick, Lizzie asked, do you teach?
I'm sorry, what?
Lizzie asked, do you teach?
Yes, I teach. Go to my website, I teach. Okay, just go to my website. Okay, so we're going to start. You know Rafiki is a Sangoma. If you go see the play, Rafiki is dressed like a Sangoma. But if you watch the cartoons, he throws a bunch of leaves and stuff in the air, snatches some out, and throws them in his turtle shell and reads them. Did y'all notice that?
Yeah.
I did until I started reading the bones. Okay, here's another movie with bones in it. Predator 2. This was an awful movie. But there was a guy that named King Willie. King Willie threw the bones to tell what was going to happen. He knew he was going to die. So there you go. Eve's Bayou. If you've never seen this movie, you need to see it. It's an excellent movie. But there's a bone reader in Eve's Bayou. Diane Carroll, who recently passed in the last couple years. So there's another one that had bone reading in it. Again, if you don't read the bones, these things kind of go past you sometime. The 13th Warrior is a movie about the Vikings, and this old lady comes out and tells them that they need a 13th person to go on their quest, and she throws her bones to find out who it is. Pirates of the Caribbean. Did y'all notice the bones here? She has a bone set that's made out of mostly crab claws, and she throws them on this surface here, Tia Dalma. American Horror Story. This went by so fast, if you blinked, you missed it. But Queenie in American Horror Story threw the bones, and there's her best friend who died. I forgot what her name is, but Queenie in American Horror Story threw the bones. It was like a second it went by. If you, like I said, if you blinked, you missed it. It's the only time they showed it, but Queenie reads the bones. Outlander had some foolishness. So she said that she knew about the bones because her father brought some back from South Africa. But the bones they have are Shagai bones. So I don't know how her father brought Mongolian bones back from South Africa, but it was in Outlander if you watch Outlander. Marco Polo. There we have Shagai again, this time in Mongolia, where it's supposed to be. So if you watch Marco Polo, his mother told his future and said that he was supposed to be the new king. Moby Dick. This movie was made the year I was born. We're not going to say what year that was, but Quig through the bones. He saw through his bones and he knew he was going to die. He saw his death and he just sat down and waited to die. They would cut him. He wouldn't eat. He wouldn't drink. He wouldn't sleep. He was just waiting to die because his bones told him he was going to die. They even cut him with a knife. He just sat there. He refused to move. He told the coffin maker, the carpenter, to make me a coffin. I'm sorry. Make me a coffin. Make it waterproof because I'm going to die. My bones told me I'm going to die. So Moby Dick. And this one I'm going to let y'all see. I don't know how many of y'all watched this series. This was a series. Anybody recognize these people? It was pretty popular.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it was on. No, it might have been on Netflix too, but it was on HBO or one of them channels first. So this guy is a Native American. He says, "Gather my bits and bones." He does bone readings, and he did the reading. He said, "Make them quiet again." Then he told them, "One day you're going to do this with my real bones." It was in Penny Dreadful.
Yeah.
There you go. So a lot of people liked Penny Dreadful. I liked it. Dolly Parton wrote a song about a bone reader, and then she wrote this years ago, but then Hallmark gave her a show, and she did a show about a bone reader called These Old Bones. That's Kathleen Turner and her bone set. It was one of them Hallmark things where it's all smushy and everybody's heart breaks, but then it has a happy ending. So that's her bone set. And this one, this is not exactly bone reading. What she's doing is called lithomancy, and that's crystal reading. But I threw it up there anyway because I love Octavia Butler. Okay, so y'all just have to put up with it. But yeah, Octavia Butler threw some bones. I'm thinking Octavia Spencer. I'm sorry. In The Witches, she threw crystals. When you look close, you see they're not bones; they're crystals. But since I love Octavia Spencer, you know, y'all had to see it anyway. So this is The Witches on HBO Max, if y'all have seen that or not. And that's all I have, even though I ran over. I'm so sorry I ran over it. That's why they usually put me last. Anybody have any other questions? Huh?
No, we're good.
You're good? Okay, you can write me, send me an email, whatever. Thank you all. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there with you all. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there with you all. But write me if you have a question. And y'all got that link, right, where you can find things that I showed. Y'all have the link? boneshellsandcurio.com/Detroit HF. Okay, I'm gonna let you go now. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Are you still doing readings today?
Am I what?
Any readings today?
No, I'm not reading. I'm sorry. If you want to get a reading, go to my site. Okay? I'm sorry. I teach. You can sign up for a class on my site. Y'all can do this though. Y'all can do this. Y'all did great today. I was just so impressed with the answers y'all were coming up with. And that's why I love teaching, because y'all would come up with things I would never think of a million years. I'd have never thought of that elephant being happy if you'd have put a gun to my head. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate y'all for coming out for me. And I look forward to hearing from some of y'all who want to be Roan readers. Like I said, drop something in my email anytime. And I'm sorry I ran over.
No
Okay?
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.